Hello, I'm Dr. Robert L. Wilson Jr., and today I'm going to talk to you about specifically organizational development. I want to give you a little background on how this four-part series discussing resilience, resourcefulness, and repositioning for success in the areas of personal, professional, leadership, and organizational development came about. Very recently, I wrote a blog titled Resilience, Resourcefulness, and Repositioning for Success. In this blog, I addressed several points, specifically phrases that I had been hearing in conversations, such as "we're living in uncertain times." And then that was followed up by "you never know what's going to happen." And then all these other questions arose, such as how can we have certainty when the times around us are uncertain? How can we have confidence when things around us seem to be falling apart? Whether we're leading others or ourselves, how do we get unstuck and move forward? These were a few things that I heard, and I started pondering these different interactions. Other things that came up was how do we maintain stability when so many systems around us display their instability? These questions are impacted by our filters, which is how we view life, circumstances, and situations. Feelings of being unstuck or uncertain are based on our state. These feelings are indications of our state and how we usually um, are unresourceful in these states. So being transparent, how do we let everything going on outside of us, or should I say, how do we stop everything that's going on outside of us from impacting us on the inside? What happens when you've done all you could do? We can intentionally build our resilience, develop our resourcefulness, and strategically reposition ourselves for success. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I just wanted to give you a little background on the blog. You can definitely check out the blog for more information on that. However, I'm going to use this as our stepping stone for our conversation today about organizational development and those three elements: resilience, resourcefulness, and repositioning for success. So the first area we want to focus on as we focus on organizational development is resilience. Resilience is about resources, both individual and collective, and it's also about our mindset, what you're thinking, and how you're thinking. According to Dr. Unger, who does a lot of work with resilience, two important elements of resilience is having resources, either as an individual or as a group collectively, and the mindset that either the individual or the group has, what they're thinking and how they're thinking. Having access to resources can help people to pivot, grow, adapt, and be resilient because they have things necessary to assist them in the process. What and how you think is powerful because a positive mindset will create positive things versus a negative mindset that creates negative things. Your ability to shift your perception or what you think allows you individually or collectively as a group to shift your ability to be more resilient or to express or demonstrate resilience in a variety of life circumstances and situations that you may encounter. So, with that being said, this perspective by Dr. Unger, how do we use this in our conversation around organizational development? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, how does organizations build resilience within the employees as well as the organization? Based on a definition and the components necessary to build resilience from Dr. Unger, it's critical that organizations have resources for both individuals and the overall collective group of the organization. What does that mean? It means having resources that can help individually employees intentionally be more resilient and collectively within the organization to develop resilience among the organization itself. So the people and the organization doing things that build resilience for the individual employee, the group of employees, but the organization as a whole. That means helping your employees and the organization shift the mindset to be more aligned intentionally and strategically to build resilience on purpose. What is the mindset of the organization? currently, and what does the mind shift? Where do you want the mindset to go, or the new mindset that you want to adopt within that organization to uphold it within that organizational culture? A great example of this perspective is intentionally building resilience in organizations through either EAP or the training department to provide education, development, and training that specifically focuses on skills and also being able to access and tap into resources to develop resilience. What does that look like? Things like wellness journals, books, strategies and techniques and methods for self care, or organizational wellness opportunities, or things like relaxation to reduce stress, just to name a few. Now we want to discuss resourcefulness role within organizational development. Let me first start here because in the last concept, we talked about having resources. People can be resilient by having resources. So that's important. But now I want to share that having resources doesn't necessarily make you resourceful. Okay? Again, resourcefulness is not based on having resources, but has to do with your ability to be resourceful within yourself, such as your states, being in a positive or resourceful state for productivity versus being in a negative or unresourceful, or a lot of times you might hear people call a stuck state, which leads to a lack of productivity. So being able to shift your state, this ties into emotional intelligence. This ties into being able to shift your mood, right? Also, your ability and skills to be resourceful by shifting your state or our states to better serve us. So having the skill set to be aware, to know how to shift your state. Then we talk about things like your capacity, which is enhancing and maximizing your inner resources, like being able to shift your perception, being able to pause, and being able to shift your mindset to with a mind shift. Then we talking about things such as, and speaking of mindset, we talk about expanding our ways of thinking to change our results. Again, mindset, expanding our way of thinking and how we think to change our results and outcomes. Then we look at our skill set. What are our skills that we have? And we also want to enhance our skills. Then we talk about our tool set, having more tools. A lot of times people say having tools in your toolbox, but I often say there's a lot of tools in my toolbox I don't use. So helping people not to only know what their tools are, but when and how to use them and effectively and efficiently. A great example of talking about states, ability, capacity, mindset, skill set, and tool set is this. Organizations providing training that specifically focuses on these areas, such as how do I shift my state? How do I increase my ability and my capacity? What is the mindset and what is a mind shift? What skills do I need to be able to be more resourceful with things within me so I can see results on the outside of me? And then also what tool sets are available that I have to access? So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about resourcefulness. Employees individually or collectively or as an organization being more resourceful and being able to tap into that resourcefulness whenever needed to produce the outcomes and results that we actually desire. Now, we've already talked about resilience and resourcefulness. Now we're going to talk about repositioning. Repositioning is all about how we use information, learning new information, unlearning old information that no longer serves us, and relearning information to repurpose it so we can use it more effectively and efficiently now. This is about how organizations are using creative and innovative ways to share and communicate information and strategies within and throughout the organization. This can be used by providing different methods of learning and applying the information for individuals within the organization, for the employees overall, but also within the organizational culture. So repositioning in terms of what it means for organizations is how do you reposition yourself as an organization to be creative and innovative, and a lot of times talk about being more competitive, and also you can limit uh, your need to be competitive by being able to be more creative, which really puts you ahead of the competition. So a lot of times, and that's a whole nother conversation, but creation versus competition, right? Being an organization that has a culture where you are cultivating resilience and resourcefulness within the employees puts the organization in a different position and posture to be more successful, to have better productivity outcomes and results. Now that we talked about resilience, now that we talked about resourcefulness, and now that we talked about repositioning, how does that work in terms of implementation for organizational development? Now let's talk about implementation and putting information into practice. Again, let's talk about implementation and putting information into practice. This focus here is purposefully, intentionally, and strategically building resilience, developing resourcefulness, and strategically repositioning your employees and your organization for success. To better illustrate this point, I'll use myself in the work I do to really bring clarity and comprehension to the concepts, and also help with the demonstration of the concepts, what they look like in action. So, and also this will help with how how intentionally implementing these three components: resilience, resourcefulness, and repositioning can help your organization be more effective, more efficient, and have a better productivity and outcomes. So one of the things I do is I provide training that focuses on self-awareness, self-education, and self-mastery. This helps employees and organizations build individual and collective resilience. Within the training, I provide tools and resources that help the employees and the organization focus on the inside, which impacts the results and outcomes they get on the outside. A tool that I might use might be an evaluation, journals, progress trackers, books. And with all of these different materials or resources, it focuses on the individual or the group or the organization self-reflecting, but through that self-awareness and self-reflection, how that information translates into practice, strategies, techniques, and results. That helps employees and organizations address their ability and capacity to enhance their skill set, shifting their mindset, because now that they have this, and going back to what we talked about with repositioning and that information, taking new information for some and shifting their mindset, taking uh, or replacing some of that old information with new information, and so they get rid of stuff that no longer serves them, or this information that they know, but now they can repurpose it in a different way. All these things help. All these tools help uh, employees and organizations navigate the workplace and work culture more efficiently, uh, and also build their competence and confidence to do so. Some of the things that I do in terms of work is helping organizations and employees with communication and conflict resolution skills. That helps because the resilience, the resourcefulness, and the repositioning helps people show up differently in those circumstances, situations, and interactions, which gives them different outcomes. Another element that I provide for organizations is either team, group, individual, or organizational coaching and mentoring. I could do this as a contract service where they contract with me and I provide the service for the organization, or I can provide a service where I help them to actually develop a coaching and mentoring program within their organization, whichever better serves that organization, and it's always tailored to meet their needs. And so the consulting piece that I provide is how to provide training, education, and development to meet the workforce needs, the organizational needs, and to uh, better align with the organizational structure and culture. These are just a few elements, and I gave you just a few examples of some of the work I do to better demonstrate how to use training, tools, and resources, coaching, consulting, and mentoring to help with implementation of resilience, resourcefulness, and repositioning for successful organizational development. Here's my contact information and websites for Robert Wilson Consulting, Wilson Global Outreach Solutions, my academy, Global Solutions Education and Training Academy, and also my author website where you can find my books.